Most people treat their bank like a long-term relationship that's gone cold. You aren't happy, the spark is gone. They're definitely seeing other people's money, but you stay because breaking up feels like too much paperwork. Well, last year, I officially served divorce papers to my traditional bank and moved my entire financial life to Fidelity. Then I put out an episode about my experience. I expected some interest, but I didn't expect it to become the most watched video in the history of this channel. Hundreds of you flooded the comments. Half of you were saying, I want out too. And the other half were asking, wait, won't my life break if I leave? And the eye of the storm in all of these comments was one particular financial account, the Fidelity Cash Management Account, or the CMA.
Welcome to your Money on Easy mode with Damien.
Today we are taking those hundreds of anxious comments and answering the most asked questions from the community. We're moving past the marketing brochures to get real. Is the CMA actually a viable daily driver, or is it just a glorified savings account with a debit card? We're going to dive deep into the friction of the Akoya transition, the reality of why Zelle isn't natively supported, and the counterintuitive reason why spreading your money across a network of banks through a brokerage might actually be the safest move for your money. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to stop being a source of passive profit for your bank and start treating your cash like the high-performance asset that it was meant to be. This is your official rescue mission from the land of 0.01% interest. Now, before we get into the details, a quick reminder, I am a researcher and a talking head, not your personal financial advisor. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Every financial situation is as unique as a fingerprint, so do your own diligence. All right, let's kick this off with the big question. Can this thing actually handle my bills? Most frequently asked question number 1. Can the Fidelity Cash Management Account actually replace my traditional checking account for recurring bills? The biggest hurdle for most people is just understanding what this thing is. If you go to a Chase or a Bank of America, you know the deal. It's a building, it's a bank with a vault. But Fidelity, that's where you buy stocks, right? So when you open a cash management account, you're essentially entering a hybrid zone that bridges the gap between a bank and an investment firm. One of the most common questions from my video was, can I actually use this for real life? Like, can I pay my electric bill and my credit card with it? The answer is a resounding yes. Fidelity provides you with a routing and an account number just like any bank, meaning you can plug those into any utility portal and the money moves via standard ACH transfer. But where it gets really useful is the native bill payment feature. If you need to pay someone who doesn't have an online portal, like a local landlord or a small contractor, Fidelity will actually print and mail a physical paper check on your behalf at no cost to you. You can set up recurring payments so your rent or mortgage goes out automatically every month. It is a full-service bill pay system that tracks everything in one place, giving you a level of organization that most big bank apps still struggle to match. Now, the easy mode difference is what happens to your money while it's waiting to be spent. In a traditional bank, your cash sits in a boring wallet, doing nothing. In the cash management account, your money is automatically tucked into a money market fund, usually one like SPACs. So while your money is waiting to pay that rent or electric bill, it's earning an interest rate that would make a big bank savings account weep. You get the utility of a full-service checking account with the yield of a top-tier savings account all in one place. Now, if that doesn't sound like a big deal, go ahead, pause this episode for 10 seconds. Open your current bank app and look at the interest that you earned last month. If it's less than the price of a gumball, then it's time to stop letting your bank profit off of your laziness. Question number 2. What ATM fees are actually reimbursed? Imagine you're standing on a street corner in Tokyo, or maybe just at a generic convenience store in Chicago. You need $40. You walk up to a glowing ATM, insert your debit card, and the screen delivers that familiar message. this machine will charge you a $5 surcharge. Do you accept? For most people, this is a moment of micro defeat. You hit accept because you have to, but you feel the sting of paying money just to access your own money. According to current 2026 data, the average out-of-network ATM fee has climbed to nearly $5. But if you have the cash management account, you can just laugh at that screen. Most banks build walled gardens. They want to penalize you the moment you step outside of their territory. But Fidelity takes the opposite approach. They treat the entire global banking infrastructure as their own lobby. Use your CMA debit card at any ATM with a Visa, Plus, or Star logo, which is effectively every machine on Earth, and Fidelity will reimburse that fee the moment that the transaction settles. And some good news for the travelers, Fidelity has officially scrapped foreign transaction fees on this card. That croissant in Paris or train ticket in London now costs exactly what the exchange rate says, nothing more. Now, just a quick pro tip, this won't affect most people, but make sure you're using the gold-colored CMA debit card. If you have the green brokerage card, the rules for fee reimbursement can vary depending on the tier of your account. For most people, that green card won't pay you back those ATM fees unless you have a high balance status, whereas the gold CMA card does it for everyone. Now, once you get your cash management account debit card, here's something fun to try. Next time you're out, hunt for the most expensive ATM that you can find. If you're a CMA holder, that $5 fee warning is just a suggestion that Fidelity is going to ignore on your behalf. Quick question, if someone handed you $10,000 right now, would you know exactly what to do with it? Honestly, most people don't, and that uncertainty, well, that can cost you big time. So that's why I created something free just for you. Yes, F-R-E-E. And that is my Easy Mode Money Ladder. The Easy Mode Money Ladder is a simple step-by-step guide to help you figure out exactly what to do with your money and when. This is not a boring budget worksheet. This is a no-fluff guide that tells you exactly when to build your emergency fund, how much to put in it, the best way to crush your debt, and the steps you need to take, which aren't that complicated, to start growing real long-term wealth. All of this one simple step at a time. No matter where you are in your money journey, this guide is for you. It will help you plan your next money move with confidence. And did I mention that it's free? Yep, totally free and will always be free. If you want this guide, and I think you should, then go to my show notes and click on the link to my Stand store. That's simply my internet storefront where I give away this guide for free. Download it, follow it, and let's put your money on easy mode. Now, back to the show. Question number 3. Now we're starting to get technical. Does Fidelity allow connections from Plaid? Okay, let's talk about some of the friction or pain points because putting your money on easy mode isn't always perfect. A lot of you commented that you tried to connect Fidelity to a budgeting app like Rocket Money, Copilot, YNAB, or Monarch, and it fails. You might have heard that Fidelity doesn't allow Plaid anymore. Here's what's happening. Fidelity has moved towards a massive upgrade in how your data is protected. For years, the industry standard was screen scraping with services like Plaid. To use them, you'd effectively hand over your actual username and password to a third party. They would then use those credentials to log in as you and scrape your data. It is convenient, but it creates another point of failure. Fidelity decided that this was a security risk they were no longer willing to take. So they've transitioned to a higher security access system called Akoya. Now, instead of credential sharing, Akoya uses tokenized access. When you link an app via Akoya, you're redirected to Fidelity's own secure portal to log in. Fidelity then gives that specific app a token. Think of it like a digital valet key. It allows the app to see your balance, but it never gives them your password. And you can revoke that specific key at any time without changing your master password. So, is this safer? Absolutely. But because this approach is stricter, some apps that haven't updated their handshake to the Akoya system simply can't get through the door. So Fidelity isn't really blocking your apps, they're requiring those apps to use a more secure front door. This is the eternal struggle between security on one hand and convenience on the other. The more secure our systems are, the more hoops we have to jump through. The more convenient our systems are, the easier they are to hack. So go ahead and check your most used budgeting apps today. If Fidelity won't connect, check their support page to see if they are working on an Akoya or a token-based update. Question number 4. This was another significant pain point. Why isn't Zelle integrated into the Fidelity Cash Management Account? The second biggest friction point is Zelle. Zelle is a banks-only club. It was created by the major traditional banks to compete with Venmo and Cash App. Now, since Fidelity is a brokerage, they aren't part of that inner circle. And as most of you know by now, the standalone Zelle app, the old workaround we used to use to link a brokerage debit card, has been gone for about a year. You can't have a standalone debit card linked to your Zelle account. So if you're a Zelle power user, this might feel like a deal breaker. But the reality is that the peer-to-peer landscape is much bigger than just one app. Fidelity is fully compatible with almost every other major payment service. You can link your CMA account to Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App using your routing and account numbers. In fact, Fidelity's debit card is Visa Direct enabled, which means you can often get instant payouts from these apps back into your Fidelity account in seconds. Now, for iPhone users, Apple Pay is probably the most seamless alternative to Zelle. You can link your Fidelity debit card to your Apple Wallet and send cash through iMessage just as fast as a Zelle transfer. So by moving your social payments to these other platforms, you keep the speed that you're used to without being tethered to a traditional bank just for the sake of one legacy network, Zelle. You aren't losing the ability to pay people, you're just switching the tools that play nicer with a modern lifestyle. So my suggestion is, instead of fixating on Zelle, pick one alternative like Venmo or Apple Pay and link your Fidelity account today. You'll find that once the plumbing is connected, the money moves just as fast as it ever did. All right, let's tackle some tax-related questions. You guys had quite a few of them, trying to figure out how the yield on this cash management account would be handled. So question number 5, does the constant buying and selling of SPACs generate short-term gains for tax purposes? If Fidelity is constantly selling my SPACs fund to pay for my coffee, won't I have a 10,000 line tax return? This is a myth that's been around for a while, and it keeps people paralyzed in low interest accounts. A money market fund, like SPACs, is designed for absolute stability. Its price is always exactly $1. If you buy a share for $1 and sell it for $1 to pay for your latte, your gain is 0. 0 gains means 0 capital gains tax. Now, you are earning money on that yield. So when tax season rolls around, you might be worried about seeing a 10,000 individual sales on your 1099. But here's the reality. Fidelity reports these money market transactions as a single summarized line item on your Form 8949 summary totals, because the cost basis and the sale price are identical. You won't have to scroll through pages of coffee receipts. You'll see a clean report that essentially says you broke even on all your spending, and that yield that you earned will be reported to you on your 1099-B or your 1099 div or your consolidated 1099. Depends on your additional account setup, but when it comes to tax reporting time, Fidelity will give you the proper 1099 form, and you will use that when you're filing your taxes. It's pretty straightforward. Here's one way to think about it. Think of your Fidelity account like a reservoir. The water level stays the same, but there is a small pipe at the top that's constantly pouring in bonus water. This is your interest. You only pay taxes on that bonus, which shows up on your 1099 as taxable dividends. All right, final question, and it had to do with insurance and safety. Is my money safe? What is FDIC versus SIPC? So, most people know that banks have FDIC insurance, but they don't realize the limit is usually $250,000. If you have more than that amount in one bank, you're unprotected on the amount over 250K. Fidelity, on the other hand, distributes your money to make you more resilient. When your cash sits in the CMA sweep program, Fidelity automatically spreads it across a rotating network of program banks. By distributing your funds across this network, Fidelity can offer up to $5 million in total FDIC protection. That is 20 times the safety net of a traditional bank branch. So if one bank in the network fails, your money is shielded because it was never sitting all in one vault. So that's FDIC protection if you keep your money in the standard core position. If, however, you change your core position to keep your money in something like SPACs, then you're covered by SIPC insurance. The difference is important. FDIC insurance covers cash held at a bank. SIPC insurance, on the other hand, protects you if your brokerage firm fails. It doesn't protect you if the market value of your investments goes down, but it ensures that your assets, cash and securities, are returned to you if Fidelity were to go bankrupt. Money market funds like SPACs are incredibly stable and managed specifically to avoid ever losing value. So if you have a CMA, try this. Log into your Fidelity dashboard, look for your core position. If it says FDIC sweep, you have the $5 million of distributed protection. If it says something like SPACs, then you have the higher yield and the security of SIPC coverage for your assets. Choose the one that fits your risk appetite. Are you still making minimum payments and getting nowhere on your pile of debt? Let's change that. If your credit card balance feels like a boss fight that you just can't win, well, I made something for you. It's called the Easy Mode Guide to Destroy Your Debt, and it gives you the exact plan to break free. In this 23-page guide, we'll bust through common myths, learn step-by-step strategies, and you'll discover how to pay off your debt faster, without shame, overwhelm, or giving up everything that you enjoy. Whether you're into the snowball method, the avalanche method, or have no idea what either of those mean, this guide is for you. If you're ready to finally start paying down your debt, then this guide speaks plain English and delivers results. It's just $19.99 and it's available in my storefront. If you click the link down below to enter my stand store, you'll see a big green button to purchase the guide. Please don't let another month slip by with no progress. Hit pause on this video, scroll down to the show notes, and click the link to download this guide. Now back to the show. All right, we made it through the top 6 most frequently asked questions about my move to Fidelity and the cash management account specifically. Here's the takeaway. You don't have to choose between a bank and a brokerage. You can have the high interest engine of Fidelity and the user-friendly tools that you need for daily life. You stop leaving money on the table, you stop paying for ATMs, and you finally start treating your cash like the asset that it is. If this breakdown helped you, please do me a favor. Hit that follow or subscribe button. It tells the algorithms that this financial advice actually helps. Remember, I'm here every other week to help you put your money on easy mode. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Your Money on Easy Mode. If you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe and share it with a friend.